Alright, what's up YouTube? My name is Joseph Dawson, and I posted a video on there earlier about my knife collection, and the video quality wasn't too great, so I got comments saying please do the video again with better video quality. So I'm here today to do the video over, hopefully with better video quality. I'm casting this on my iPhone 4, so the picture as well as the video quality should be pretty good. Alright, let's get started. Let me grab my knives. Alright, these are my knives. The first one I want to show you, this one is a Bowie knife. And it has a wood inlay, a colorful wood inlay handle. It's pretty nice. It's very sharp. I don't buy a knife unless it's sharp. It comes with a cool sheath because pretty much all of my knives come with a cool sheath. And let me get a little bit closer so that you can see the detail in this knife. Very beautiful knife. Has that wood inlay handle with that colorful wood, as I like to call it. And it also has that brass metal on it, or that brass steel on it, that gives it a nice finish, but as well makes it stronger at the same time. The next one I have is a little cheap knife. It's also I like a hunting knife or whatever. It's made in China. It's actually not light at all. None of my knives are light. They're all pretty heavy, but it's a pretty nice light. It has a man on a horse chasing buffalo mirage or inscription on the back of it, or whatever you want to call it. But it's stainless steel, and it's pretty nice. It's very sharp. You know, I like the quality of this one as well. I like the shape and the feel that I have when I hold it in my hand. So it's a pretty nice knife. The third one I want to show you is this pretty big one here. It's pretty long, as you can see, and it is I don't know what it is actually. It was made in Pakistan. It's pretty sharp. I bought my little brother knife and we sword fight, so it has a few dents in it. But I have an automatic knife sharpener. All I have to do is just run the blade across there and it'll sharpen it pretty good. And it also has a colorful wood inlay handle with a jaguar head on the tip of it. This is a very, very, very sturdy knife. I really like it. It's a very sharp knife and it's very heavy. I believe this knife may weigh at least a pound. It's pretty heavy. I mean, it's pretty heavy, and I like the way it feels as well. The next one I want to show you is this one. It's a cheap knife as well, but it's very sturdy and it's very sharp. I like to call it the Prince of Persia knife. It's stainless steel as well. It's a Rostfree. Yeah, Rostfree is the name of it. It's the brand or whatever you want to call it. And it's very sharp too. I actually cut a snake's head off with this the other day. I found a snake in the backyard and threw it, and by coincidence it actually hit the snake's head and cut it clean off in 2 pieces. So it's a pretty sharp knife. Let me go ahead and get pretty close to the camera so I can show you this one, so you can see some of the detail in it as well. And it's a pretty nice knife. I like it a lot, so it's a great knife. This one was the first knife I bought, and I love this knife and one of the reasons I like this knife is because of the brass. My uncle said, man, that's a good knife. You know, it has that brass and it makes for a really good knife. It's a very big knife. It's a very sharp knife. And this knife cut me less than 2 days after I bought it. And I had to get 2 stitches in my hand, and on my finger actually. And I have a scar right there from where I had to get those 2 stitches last year. So it's a very nice knife, and I was playing around with it. It's the third one that I have with that colorful wood inlay and that brass on it. So it's a very nice knife. I really like it. Very nice knife, very big. And it's a great hunting knife. And you know, if you were to go to the Ozarks, you know, this is the ideal knife to have to ward off a bear if need be. One of the other ones I have is this one, and it's a marine survival knife. And I know some people might be watching the video and they might know it as by another name. But I bought this one from a gun and pawn shop, and the man who owns the pawn shop specializes in weapons and knives. So this was one of his personal knives. And he told me that it was one of his knives when he had in the Marines, when he went overseas. This is the one that he had on his uniform. So he gave me a pretty good deal on it, and I really like it. He kept it sharp, and this is one of the original Cold Steel blades, because as you can see, it's not as black, but it actually looks like a little coal that's been on fire for a while. It gets that white, more of an ashy gray color to it, but it's very sharp. It's very pointy. As you can look at the handle and tell, it's pretty old. But other than that, it's a very nice knife. I like the sheath that it comes in. It also comes with a sharpening stone right in here, so it's a cool one to have as well. This one perhaps may be my favorite. This is a Samuel Rag knife, and I know a lot of people might not know what Samuel Rag is, but it's a very nice knife. This knife is stainless steel, and it is a stunning. It's a dagger, and it's two-edged, so it cuts on both sides, and it's polished, so it's extremely shiny, and it's extremely pretty. On the handle here, it has Liberty and Union, so you know that this was a U.S. military issued knife or dagger, whatever. It's a collector's item, very sturdy, and it has that eagle, the United States military seal on the bottom handle of it. And I mean, as far as the detail in this knife go, it is outstanding. I really like this knife. I open letters with it, believe it or not. And I always take it when I go out of town. I take it in my suitcase, and I like to show it to people. And I really like this knife. It's a very nice knife. And it also comes in a really cool sheath as well that clips right there on the back of it. So this one is just a cheap dagger I picked up at the flea market. It's kind of loose, and that's what I don't like about it. And it's not sharp at all. But, you know, I'm a collector, so I try to collect anything. Like I said, I have an automatic knife sharpener. And all I'd have to do is run that in that knife sharpener and get it sharpened. It'll be a good weapon for cutting, although if I were to stab something pretty solid, it'd probably snap in half from the handle and up. But this is another knife that I have, and it's not real gold. As you can tell, it's gold-plated or gold-painted or whatever you want to call it. But it has a bigger knife that comes in the first sheath, and I really like this knife. It's also a very sharp knife. You know, like I said, I don't buy a knife unless it's sharp. And this is the bigger one here. I love the way it feels in my hand. It's very grippable, and I don't even know if that's a word, but... And then it comes with a smaller knife here. And this one is the exact same replica of the first one, but it's just a smaller scale version of it. And it's also pretty sharp. I've never used this knife to cut anything, neither one of them, but it's a good thing to have. And this one is, this knife actually, this is not the sheath that came in, but it was a guy who used to live down the road from me. I'm 21 years old. And it's a guy who used to live down the road from me when I was a baby. And at the time, he was about 80 years old. And his father gave him this knife when he was growing up to peel pears or whatever they used to do, you know, when they peel fruit and jarred it and canned it. So this knife, I reckon, is very old. And it was one of the first, actually, it is the very first knife that I ever got. And he didn't give it to me, but when he finally died, and we, because his house was on my great-grandmother's land, we were down there cleaning it up. And I found this knife on the front porch after he had already told me about the knife, because I had asked him for, you know, little kid, can I have your knife? And I was just so happy to find this knife, but it's very old, and it probably dates back, like I said, he was 80, and his father gave it to him, so this knife is probably over 100 years old. I'm sure it's over 100 years old, so I really like this knife as well. Very old knife. And the last thing I want to show you is